Hey, it's Scott Barrett, and welcome back to The Burning Truth on YouTube Live. So we had last night's episode of NXT, which was packed with surprises, intense matchups, and loads of chaos. And that leads us straight into this weekend's NXT Halloween Havoc. So this morning, I'll be breaking down all the action from last night's show, giving you my bold predictions for who's walking out of Halloween Havoc as winners and who might be left in the dust. We've got Trick Williams defending his NXT Championship in a Devil's Playground match. We've got Tony D'Angelo facing against Obafemi in tables, ladders, and scares. It's going to be an absolutely wild ride. Stick around, drop your thoughts in the chat, and let's dive in to this week's NXT. So, to start the show this week, we've got Damage Control. So, a nice main roster appearance for Io Sky and Kairi Sane. And they wrestled Metaphor, which was Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. The match saw some high-energy action, both teams showing off some impressive offense, but it ended in a no contest when, surprise, surprise, certainly for me, I wasn't expecting it. We got Piper Niven and Chelsea Green attacking both teams, and I suppose it got ruled out as no contest. But I suppose the one thing I came away with was expect the unexpected in NXT, because not only did I not expect to see Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, I absolutely didn't see them dismantling Damage Control and Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson as they did. So absolutely laid them out, standing tall at the end of the segment, and a really nice start to NXT. Kept me really engaged, really enjoyed it. I could watch Io Sky and Kairi Sane, wrestle continuously, probably for the rest of my life, but a nice surprise seeing Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, who I really rate as well. Chelsea Green's Karen character, I think, is absolutely brilliant. We then got another women's match. We've got Jaida Parker versus Tatum Paxley. And Jaida Parker got the win in this with a hypnotic, she calls it, after the solid match. We did have Lola Vice attempt to confront her post-match, and that added to the ongoing tension between Jaida Parker and Lola Vice. And I'm hoping we'll get something at Halloween Havoc. Potentially, maybe not, because WWE does tend to keep it to 5 matches per premium live event, and we've already got 5 matches due. But I think that's really important that if we don't get it next week or at the weekend at Halloween Havoc, we do get a match in the main event of NXT one week, because I think this feud definitely deserves it, and they're definitely building up to it. So yeah, I would like to see them go one-on-one in a main. I don't want to just be a throwaway segment, second or third on the card. I want it to get either on a PLE or a main event on NXT. I think it's worth it. Next, we've got Obafemi versus Luca Cristofino. That's difficult for me to say with my accent, And Obafemi absolutely dominated. He's a powerhouse, yeah. He won the match, absolutely battered him. Let's tell the truth. But then we got the rest of Tony D'Angelo's crew out, trying to take out Obafemi, and Obafemi overpowered them all. Tony D'Angelo got zip tied to the ring post in the end, and Obafemi, exactly as you would hope he would do, not long before a premium live event where he's got a tables, ladders, and scares match, is he pulled out a table, he pulled out a ladder, and he put Tony D'Angelo's 2 lackeys, one through the table and one through the ladder, which he rested between the ring and the commentator's table. So really good build. And do you know what? Obafemi and Tony D'Angelo, I enjoyed the match a few weeks ago. I really did enjoy it. And I think I'm going to enjoy the rematch even more with the TLC or the TLS, Tables, Ladders and Scares branding. I think I'm going to enjoy that sort of street fight style match much more. I think it'll really lend itself to this match and the powerhouse style of Obafemi. Really looking forward to it. Next, we had Brooks Jensen versus Miles Bourne. I don't really have much to say about this other than Jensen, he's showing impressive development, and obviously he got the win over Miles Bourne. So, we're on a bit of a run. We're on a bit of a rise, and we'll just see where it goes. But Brooks Jensen, Miles Bourne, it felt, I hate to say this, but it did feel a little bit meh to begin with. So I suppose one for me to keep an eye on over the next few weeks and see how it progresses and whether I care about the characters. But I don't care either way about these two yet. So there is that to battle, I suppose. We also had Sol Rucker versus Carmen Petrovic or Petrovic. I'm going to go with. I used to go to school with a lad named Petrovic. No, not school. I used to work with a lad named Stefan Petrovic. There you go. Shout out Stefan if you ever watched this video. Sol Rucker picked up a win after Petrovic got distracted by the Adonis, and he was in the crowd, and that further sort of builds that lower card tension. But it was okay. It was okay. The match was nothing special. Obviously she got distracted by Adonis, but yeah, again, probably similar to the Brooks Jensen Miles Bourne match. I've got no investment in these characters yet, so I'm almost waiting for something to happen. And I know we got a bit of something, but it's not gripping me yet. So again, we'll see how it progresses over the next couple of weeks, but I'm not sold on either of those so far. Next, I'll tell you what we got backstage after this. There is something going on with Obafemi and Nikita Lyons, right? There is something going on. I'm not going to speculate, right? I'm not that kind of guy, but I am here for it. So whatever's going on, I'm on board, right? So let's see more of Obafemi and Nikita Lyons, because I'm 1000% for that. I think they look really good together. So next, we've got OTM with Jaida Parker against Hank and Tank. Lovely tag match, this. I like tag team wrestling, and this was a good one. Hank and Tank picked up the win with help from Lola Vice, who interfered, or not interfered, but she intervened when Jaida Parker was about to interfere. So Lola Vice took out Jaida Parker. Again, we're building this sort of story again, as we did, I think, earlier in the night. And yeah, happy with this. Thought that it was, because I was invested in the girls' story, it made me more invested in the tag match as well with the lads. So yeah, I enjoyed this one, and I think I'll have more tag team wrestling next week, please. Proper tag teams, though, not just singles thrown together, which actually leads me to the... oh no, we'll save that, actually. Let's go to Trick Williams and Ethan Page. They faced off, and the show had this intense promo battle between the two of them. So Trick Williams, Ethan Page, they've got their match at Halloween Havoc, the Devil's Playground match. Still not sure what a Devil's Playground match is. If anyone can let me know in the comments, I would love to know what a Devil's Playground match is, because not a Scooby-Doo. I'm hoping it's just some sort of street fight. But they were both out hyping the match at Halloween Havoc, and I think the main bit for me was Ethan Page really challenged Trick Williams' toughness, and Trick promised to not just bring the fight, but yeah, he really promised to give him more. And then he turned his back on him at the end of the segment as well, which was really cool. So he turned his back on him and then walked out, and you could just see in Ethan Page's face that he absolutely hated that. So yeah, that was that. And then I think it was the main event of the night was Julia and Stephanie Vacchio versus Fatal Influence. That was JC Jane and Fallon Henley, and Julia and Vacchio pretty much dominated the match. Really good match, really good showing for these two, who look like absolute stars in NXT at the minute. It feels like the whole show revolves around them, which is fantastic, and they're getting a lot of TV time. They're getting a lot of praise when they're on TV, and I didn't know who these guys were 4 weeks ago, and I'm really invested in the story now. So so they won the match anyway after Kalani Jordan interfered, and after that, Fatal Influence got away and spun the wheel for a match against Kalani Jordan. Sorry, probably best explain that. So Julia and Vacchio got the win. Kalani Jordan came out and interfered, but it was only to take out the third member of Fatal Influence, which is Jasmine Nix. So in case I didn't make that clear, you probably watched it anyway, but yeah, that is what happened. And then after that, Fatal Influence got away, spun the wheel for a match against Kalani Jordan, and they spun for Spinner's Choice, which means I think that any of them could be facing Kalani Jordan at Halloween Havoc on Sunday. And this is when it got really weird, or weird but cool. So the lights went out, and we got the debut of Zariah. So again, another talent that I'm not familiar with at all, but they presented it like an absolute main event star. And I was really impressed with the presentation. I was really impressed with the way they debuted it, the video, blacking out the lights, her appearing, her presentation in terms of the lighting, her ring gear, if that's what it is, face paint, etc. Really, really, really impressed with that. So yeah, absolutely. They presented her like a main event star, and I think she's definitely one to watch out for. And that was pretty much NXT for this week. So a really decent effort, I think, as you go into the head towards Halloween Havoc, sort of a go-home show before the PLE. And I'm really excited for Halloween Havoc, which is something to say after I've only been watching the show for 4 weeks. Not too sure if it'd be good or not, if I was going to enjoy it. Like I said, the last time I watched NXT consistently before it moved over to the CW was Keith Lee was the champion. So we're going back a good while here. And I thought it was really good today. Really good build towards this Halloween Havoc Premium Live event. So what I want to do next, ideally, is give you my predictions for Halloween Havoc 2024 based on what I think the match card is and will be. So let's do that. But before we jump into predictions for Halloween Havoc, I've got to mention something cool that happened on this week's podcast. So, and I do the NXT reviews here on YouTube each and every week, but also we've got our weekly podcast, The Burning Truth Live. And on that podcast, me and Matt Burns discuss all things WWE and AEW. We also have some really cool segments where we challenge each other to give our top 3 on any chosen topic. We bury alive storylines, angles, or things in wrestling that are nominated by the listeners that we decide should be buried alive for all time, almost wrestling's equivalent to Room 101. And another thing that we do to end every week, we do a rebook this, which we take it in turns to rebook something that is challenged to us from the other host. So this week it was my turn to rebook, and Matt Burns challenged me to rebook the Nexus angle from 2010-2011 from WWE. And let me tell you, it was an absolute blast, right? I completely overhauled the angle. Matt Burns gave it 5 out of 5 bangers, our highest score yet. So if you love a good rebooking and fancy wrestling, you've got to check it out. Head over to the podcast after this. This week's was called 343, Battle of the Belts, Botches and Bloodlines. And let me know what you think. And let me know if you think my version compares to the original. Give us a like, a comment, a share. Lovely. Thanks, guys. Without further ado, let's do our Halloween Havoc predictions. So Kalani Jordan versus one member of, I think, Fatal Influence. So that's either Fallon Henley, JC Jane, or Jasmine Nix for the NXT Women's North American Championship. And I think with the challenger yet to be determined, it's hard to call. Kalani Jordan's been a really fighting champion, but the stipulation chosen by the challenger could put her in jeopardy because I imagine they get to pick their own stipulation as well. If Jane is the challenger, I think she's the winner. If it's either of the other two, I think it's Kalani Jordan. So my prediction is that Kalani Jordan retains unless JC Jane is the challenger. That's my prediction. We've then got the ambulance match between Andre Chase and Ridge Holland. And I didn't talk about this in this week's review, actually, but we did get a promo from Andre Chase talking about Ridge Holland. And the feud's got personal. An ambulance match is the perfect stage for these two to settle it. And I think probably Ridge Holland's brute strength will be enough to make him the favourite for me. Don't count out Andre Chase's resilience, but I think it'll be physical. I think it'll be a hard-hitting affair, but I can't look past Ridge Holland getting the win here, I think. What else have we got going on? We've got Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez versus Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. So, again, this rivalry's been simmering for a while, ever since these two debuted. They've got momentum coming into this, and I expect Julia and Vaquer to pick up the win, potentially setting them up as contenders for the Women's Championship going forward. That's what I see. I think it can't go any other way. I think they've got to win because one of them's probably got to get a pinfall on Roxanne Perez and be right in the line for being the number one contender. What else is going on? We've got the Men's North American Championship, Tables, Ladders and Scares match. I've probably taught this to death in the review, but Tony D'Angelo over Femi, probably the match I'm most looking forward to at Halloween Havoc. We'll talk about, I'll probably do another review after Halloween Havoc, probably on Monday. I think Sunday night is Halloween Havoc. So I'll do another review for this show and we'll see what happens. But I think Tony D'Angelo thrives in environments where he can bend the rules, and a Tables, Ladders and Scares match will be perfect for him. We've got this thing about Obafemi and his raw power. He is an absolute threat, and he's the former champion, so we should be taking him seriously. It could go either way, but I think D'Angelo gets the win here because he's more cunning. So I suppose that's my prediction, is that we see Tony D'Angelo come away with the win. And then that leads us to the main event, which is an NXT Championship, Devil's Playground. No idea what a Devil's Playground match is. Again, if you know, put it in the comments. I would love to know before it happens. But it's Trick Williams, the champion, defending against Ethan Page, the challenger, Trick's been on a hot streak. Ethan Page, he's ruthless. And he might have the edge in a stipulation heavy match. I think it'll be brutal. I think it'll be loads of chaos. But I do honestly think Trick Williams retains in a really hard-fought battle. I think Trick Williams and still your NXT champion. And that is it for this week's NXT review and special Halloween Havoc predictions video. And that's a wrap for this week's episode. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you've had as much fun listening as I've had recording. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can find us on Twitter at TBT Live UK, Instagram at The Burning Truth, and on Facebook at The Burning Truth. You can listen to all our podcast episodes and these NXT Live reactions on YouTube, but you know that because you're here. That's at The Burning Truth 251. If you've got any questions or ideas, you can drop us an email, info@theburningtruth.com, or leave us a comment on the bottom of this video. Comment. Do all the good stuff, yeah? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It really helps spread the word. It's great for the algorithm. And check out our website, theburningtruthuk.com, for more updates. Until next time, stay positive, keep enjoying your wrestling, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Burning Truth Live. Whoop that trick.